I think that most people that are here in the Edgerton County Code, so I have right. I'm Grayson Martin. I'm the County Department of Environmental Services. I'm there in the contraband VHEC, Jackson Hospital. Don't tell anyone. So I think a little bit colder out there this morning. So, but Richard is hoping to come. He had a last minute plans meeting that he had said I'm kind of deal with. So, I'm hoping that he'll be able to join soon. But we have a few of our office staff here, and eventually they may trickle over if we don't get as many people. But I thought that to begin, we could just kind of go around and introduce ourselves. The purpose of this meeting is to just kind of get different players in the room who are kind of in the Midlands region. We have some folks like Lexington County who are trying to set up composting, and maybe as we've been pushing for having a spoke type program. So I know there were some folks who were interested and some folks who weren't, but I think it's still good to just kind of be in the know of what's going on in your general area and see if, you know, even if you're not able to participate right now, maybe further down the road, we could link up folks. But we also, you know, we get to see your names a lot, but we don't always get to see your faces on a daily basis. And so we also wanted this to be a time to get to know you guys and your programs a little bit more in depth, and also see what are some of the struggles that y'all are facing, and allow y'all to know that you're not alone in those struggles. And then also, you know, if you have found some strengths in your programs, or if you have found some good ways of addressing some of those issues, you know, let it be a learned lesson that other people can take back to their facilities. So with that said, I'm going to have the DES folks, since they're on the outside, kind of introduce themselves first. And then we're going to give y'all a quick update about some of our programs, just for y'all to be aware of. And then we'll turn the floor to you and want to just listen. So Savannah, I'll let you go ahead and get started.
Am I doing just introduction?
Yep, just your.
My name is Savannah. I run our Adult Waste Food SC program, and I also manage our college grants.
I'm Odie Barnes. I administer the waste tire grants, coordinate some of the waste tire cleanups in the state, and also, well, kind of doing all the grants right now, solid waste grants and the used oil grants. It's a busy time with all the applications coming in and that kind of thing. So, and quarterly reports, I'm doing all those too. So.
I'm Kayla Meyer. I coordinate our Take Action at Sea program going into K-12 schools. And also I manage the Beat Battery Smart campaign. So trying to get some data from you guys and some more information to help you guys.
Good morning. I'm Sally Williams. I'm the section manager for the solid waste reg development planning and reporting section.
I'm Chelsea Bean. I work for Sally and I do consistency.
Hello, I'm Kyle. I do the full cost disclosure and describe.
Full cost for who? Full cost disclosure.
Lee McIntyre, director of solid waste for Lexington County.
I'm Andy T with solid waste recycling in Richland County.
Alan Hubsted, the landfill operations manager, Richland County. Kevin Porter with Richland County landfill supervisor at the landfill.
Candace Manson, Deputy Director of Public Works for Richland County.
Cindy Castellucci, General Manager of Solid Waste Recycling for Richland County.
Travis Weston, Richland County Supervisor for Recycling.
It's Mary Midfield. I work for SCDC and I'm the branch chief for the Solid Waste Recycling Center.
My name is Adriana Diotalevi. I'm the Recycling Market Development Coordinator at the Department of Commerce.
Doug Harmon, Newberry County. I'm the Recycling Manager for Newberry County. Jody Day, I'm the Recycling Coordinator for Newberry County.
Lynn Watkins, Deputy Director for Lexington.
So we have a few new faces, so thank y'all for joining, and then some who get to hear our voices all the time. So hopefully you don't get too tired of them. But Richard said that I could go ahead and kind of do his spiel. So again, a few times I'll probably want to fill in a little bit more. But as you all are probably aware, you've been getting a lot of emails from me talking about what we're calling right now our hub and spoke programs, or trying to set up a hub and spoke program across the state. So essentially having folks in who can serve as like a centralized area for bringing material to be processed, and then having those folks that are going to still be very important in the process of collecting material and providing that feedstock with. For us, we've had a big focus on, food waste prevention, because that's the #1 thing going into our landfills. But we are open to other types of materials as well. I know glass is a big one that we get questions about. So we are in the process of trying to educate folks on the composting side right now. So through a couple of webinars, so a few of y'all were on one yesterday about composting infrastructure and just the different things that are available for the state. But we are working on a game plan in terms of actually getting that grant available, which we're hoping to have available later this fall. We just had our municipal solid waste characterization study get published. Again, that identified that there are definitely some more opportunities throughout the state for trying to handle food waste, handle cardboard, and some other materials. I think Sally, you may be a little more well-read on some of the things. Sally's going to talk a little bit about how we're going to take that municipal solid waste study and use it for updating our state plan. So Sally's going to
Giving you way too much credit, Grace.
well, putting all the pressure on. But she is involved, and our office is going to try to help her in whatever way you can in the next coming weeks. But with that study, because food waste was again identified that it was the #1 thing, we are also using hopefully some SWIFR funding, so solid waste infrastructure and recycling funding that we got from the Environmental Protection Agency to help us with doing a smaller food waste characterization study to help us with figuring out, is it more from kind of the what types of waste in terms of food waste, as well as what where's the majority of that waste coming from a residential versus from a business side. And then some of the I'm not as familiar, Savannah, you may know some of the questions that Richard's wanting to ask through that. Do you have any more?
Basically where it's coming from, where it's going, and what is the composition of it.
Okay.
And then some recommendations on what we can do to make it better.
Yes. So we are going to be hopefully getting that up and running soon, and have that begin by the end of summer or beginning of fall, so that we can use that with helping us set up our grant as well. Talking about grants, we just had our SCDES grants due this past Friday. So as Woody said, we are down a person. We have not yet gotten permission to start posting a position to replace Stephanie. She retired this past January. And so if you have gotten a little bit slower responses from us, please know that we're trying to work as hard as we can to get things back to y'all. It's just we're trying to do our regular jobs as well as handle Stephanie's responsibilities. So the next steps with that is we're going to be reviewing your grants, and then they have to be approved by our Solid Waste Advisory Council as well as upper management. And then at the end of June, we'll end up sending you all a grant agreement. So kind of keep your eyes peeled for that. But while you wait, we also have our quarterly reports that will be due, and we'll be closing out our grant process or our fiscal year 26 grants. So again, keep your eyes peeled for emails from us. If there are requests for those quarterly reports, which are usually April 15th will be the next one that's due. And then July 15th will be the last one that's due, correct?
Last,
Or for quarter four, I think.
oh, yeah, July 15th would be in it, yeah.
So yeah, just remember those. And then in terms of some upcoming dates that we have, so I mentioned this on yesterday's phone call, but we're going to be doing our our annual recycling and solid waste professionals meeting September, I think it's 28th and 29th, or 29th and 30th. I think I 29th and 30th. And so good deal with so if you all would like to go ahead and put that on your calendar, we'd love to have folks from any of your divisions come and join us. And that will be free. It will be at the Phillips Market Center. We also, June 3rd, we've just lined up some tours to see Clemson University's composting infrastructure. So if you are interested in that, I will be sending out an email invitation soon. We are limited in the number of folks that can attend. So, try to RSVP as quickly as possible with that. And we are going to be trying to line up a visit to Beaufort County's composting facility. They just got a new in-vessel composter. So it's they have used some grant from both us as well as the Department of Ag to try to get this up and running. So they'll kind of be giving a tour, but then also talking through how they went about setting up the facility in the first place. Those were the big things for me, but I want to go and from Richard, but I wanted to go ahead and pass it on to Savannah and then a few of our other folks just to give some brief updates for their programs. So Savannah, if you want to share your news.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, we are hosting a food waste summit this June on the 16th. It'll have stakeholders and our partners, people like food banks, food rescues, donation places, grocery stores. It'll involve a little bit of everybody. We're gonna have some speakers, and then we're gonna have a discussion session on how we can work together, what we can do to help one another and reduce the food that's in our landfills. So if you're interested in being a part of that, I'll send Grace and the registration link when it comes out.
Thank you, Savannah. What do you have any updates?
Waste tire updates. Well, I guess we could say the second quarter waste tire, the Department of Revenue issued another refund for that came from the waste tire fee. So it affected what the counties received in the second quarter. It's also going to affect your third quarter disbursements, and then everything should be back to normal for the fourth quarter. So the way that works is generally when there's an overpayment by a retailer, those fees go to the county. So the way they remedy it is they withhold fees from the counties until it's back to where it should be. So that's kind of what we're going through. And I don't know, since the program began, I've only heard of it happening twice. This was the second time, but unfortunately, both times have been in the last 4 years. So, and both times it was for the same amount of money. It's like $1.7 million that had to be, evened up. So that makes it tough for figuring out your budget and planning and grants, because grants are a lot based on shortfalls, you consider what your tipping fees are and what your disbursements were and what your costs are, contractor costs, and try to figure out, what you need from the grant. So, so it's can be a little tricky, but we'll make it through. The bottom line is that, counties should be receiving, more money now than ever towards their waste tire management. So.
Thank you.
So not too much to report, but with Be Battery Smart, I am still collecting any information, numbers that you guys have, whether it's fires at your convenience centers, transfer stations, landfills, all of it. I want to know Also, like anecdotally, like it seems like the stories are what really catches people's attention. So if you have a wild battery fire story, like please let me know. Also, I am going to a lot more LAPC meetings, so connecting with those emergency planning folks. So just trying to get the word out about the program. So we really want you guys to adopt the program and be educating folks about not putting batteries in the recycling. I believe so.
All right, Sally. Okay, so we published the latest fiscal year annual report, March 15th. It is on the website. We were at 23.5% recycling rate this year. It was a little bit higher than last year. We're working on getting paper copies. So hopefully next month we should have those to send out to. The state plan revision that Grace Ann mentioned, we did put out a bid process, and we're working with HDR consultants to revise the state solid waste management plan. You all should be getting, or some of you that we have a contact list for, should be getting an email or a virtual meeting next week with us, to talk about, what we need to think about, what issues, what concerns you all have, things for us to include in that state plan. So with that being said, we are hopefully trying to get it done by the end of June, at least by the end of the year. So just something to think about, to be on the lookout for if you have some outdated or older state county plans, just to think about revising those at some point, or maybe the process that you would need to go through to revise those. With that, there was also a Hurricane Helene solid waste grant that closed last Friday. That's a little bit different because it's with federal funding, but it will follow some of the same process that the solid waste grant did. And we're still going to go through and look at those, and those will be awarded probably in June as well. And that will be offered again next year as well, for any debris or any emergency planning to do with Hurricane Helene. If you have any questions.
I did just want to, because I thought in the application on that one, the money had to be spent in fiscal year 26.
So it's the federal fiscal year. So it's my head is so confused with dates right now. So it's based on the federal fiscal year will end, October. Yes. So it'll be sent depending on how quickly we can go through these, because we won't need to go through Slack to get the approvals, but we probably issue it in June, and then you'll have to September to send us the invoices and reimbursement if you're chosen, and then it'll be offered again. And we are going out. We've been to a few counties. We've been to Newberry, Spartanburg. A part of that grant was to do outreach to the affected counties from Helene. So Justin Coon and I have been going around some of the counties to talk about pre-planning, what you still need, what's out there. So some things that we can give advice or anything to the other counties that you may not need equipment, but there's money out there again for revising your county plan if you choose to add emergency planning into that plan. So it's, or if you had your recycling containers hurt, we're thinking broad and thinking creative with this grant. So if there's a way that you can tie it to Helene, we're open to hearing those suggestions. Thank you. I think Chelsea. So Chelsea retired in January along with Stephanie. So Chelsea is our new planning and consistency specialist. So she's been thrown in the fire with the state plan revision. So there's a lot of things coming up for us in the next few months.
Thank you, guys. Well, before we move on, do you all have any questions for any of us based off of what we have shared?
well, I don't know if you think it would be, you're here. And I did want to, really quickly, thank you, Savannah, really quickly just, mention that we are going to be sending out a questionnaire in the next coming weeks, just to get a little bit of an idea about, as I mentioned, the Hub and Spoke program. Lynn actually provided me with some really good ideas. Based our questionnaire off of some of her questions that she imposed. So they have to give her a little bit. But yeah, so I just want to give folks a heads up. And we're just trying to gauge interest levels as well as like what people's needs are. So I know some folks are a little bit further ahead and thinking through things, and then some folks are just trying to figure out, is this, something we want later down the road. But before we get into the nitty gritty, I did want to give Adriana a quick moment. I think I would just look cool. That's okay. Okay. So she did give me a little bit of a PowerPoint, but you're welcome to just go ahead and introduce yourself and then what all you all do.
Awesome, yeah. So I'm Adriana. I'm with the Department of Commerce. We work with closely with a advisory council that's appointed by the governor. It's a 14-member council. They represent different seats like plastics, glass, municipality, solid waste, just different things like that. But they recommend to the governor and the General Assembly every year. They have recommendations that they send in. This year they decided that they wanted to kind of hear from the voices around the state. So we're doing regional roundtables. We did our first one back in March, and Grace Ann and Richard joined us there. It was a great time. We got to hear from a lot of recyclers, local government, manufacturers in the area working with recycled content or just dealing with getting rid of materials that are difficult to get rid of. We're going to have our next one coming up on tentative date of June 4th right now. We're just waiting on confirmation of our location. But if y'all are interested in coming, we'd love to hear from the recycling coordinators and voices in our local area. And the goal is just to bring everyone together and hash out any issues we're dealing with, difficult materials, market needs, stuff like that. So our advisory council can send their recommendations in for next year to help our state better align. So that's just a little bit about our initiative this year, and let me know if y'all are interested in coming. I can share my contact information with y'all later. Thank you.
Well, I did want to preface by saying that I did not realize that this not have kids yet, and I did not realize that this was the week of spring break for a lot of folks. So we do have a couple of counties missing today at the table. We also invited UFC and a couple of the other local schools, but they were also on spring break. And so we have a few voices that aren't here, but I am reporting this so that, later on, if they wanted to have see what all we discussed, they have that as reference. So I want to quickly point out that we have Mary is with us, and Mary's program is a little bit different from all the others. And I thought that we could potentially start with her and then go to the counties, if that's okay. And I know that I sent this kind of more last minute, but on the back of the agenda, we have a list of documents that I thought that could help us with our conversation. And these are some information, or these are some questions that we want to get to know a little bit more for your county persons. But I know Mary at least may not apply exactly to you. So I wanted to just let you go ahead and maybe introduce your program and maybe have how things are operating there, what we should know about your facility.
So my name is Mary McPhail. I'm the branch chief of the solid waste and recycling program at the South Carolina Department of Corrections. Our program has been operating for about 32 years. I've been with the program for about 6 years now. And we pick up recycling from about 25 state agencies, as well as all 21 institutions statewide, prisons. We collect plastics 1, 2, and 4, aluminum cans, steel, cardboard, SOP 37, mixed paper, which is magazines, newspaper, white paper. And we do that by, I have a driver that goes out with a truck and he brings a couple of inmates with him. We also picked up from 5 different state parks statewide. So usually either myself or one of my drivers will take our pickup truck with a little trailer on the back and bring 2-3 inmates with us and drive around the state. Basically, what's going well is I have a really good inmate crew. They're becoming pretty skilled and knowledgeable in recycling and solid waste. I have a great team that I work with. However, we are missing 2 important employees. I'm down a truck driver and I'm also down an admin. So I'm trying to do 2 jobs. Some of the challenges that we face, we have equipment. We got roll-off trailers from 1997. And it's extremely large and kind of difficult to maneuver. So we're praying that we get a new roll-off truck that would be easier to maneuver our 40 cubic yard dumpsters. If we have an institution that has a riot or, the A-team comes in and tears the place apart, we have to go in with equipment and, get the, mattresses, wood, metal, and obviously we can't combine them all, so we have to get some different trucks. My biggest complaint probably with that is the A-team loves to throw everything into our 34 cubic yard self-contained compactor, and they keep breaking. So I have gone over when I know that a red team is at an institution. I try to get over there with one of my drivers and a bunch of gaylords. And I tell them as they're bringing stuff out, that goes in there, trying to, really tell them, I said, a mess up of breaking a compactor, and you're talking anywhere from, could be 20 grand for refurbished, self-contained compactor all the way up to 50,000 or so for a brand new one, which costs the state quite a bit of money. So, but that's kind of what we do. And we have a industrial size cross-cut shredding machine in our warehouse. Plus we have 6 vertical balers. The vertical balers pretty much do the cardboard, the plastics, aluminum cans. I have several different dumpsters that we put steel in, and we have a contract with CMC. I have a pallet guy that comes and picks up the new or decent pallets. And I have Shep comes and buys our pallets back off us. It's, we have forklifts and I have a backhoe. So it's kind of, and I also, when state agencies are like closing down or moving locations and they don't want to take the furniture, usually I'm the one person that I reach out to. When state surplus is done with what they want, and we'll go in and take all the furniture that I can refurbish. I have gone through our headquarters and gotten approval to donate those sometimes to 501c3s. Just because I really don't want to see a bunch of furniture go into the trash that doesn't really need to go in there. So I'm very passionate about it. My inmates know that I dumpster dive. I'm constantly going into places and saying, this is not trash, but we can make money off of it. So that's pretty much what I do.
And you all do have a yes. And that is by fighting you and the inmates working on it. Yeah, and I'm assuming, other markets, they have issues with getting consistent employees. That kind of saves the case for you all.
Well, not with the inmate labor. I mean, the only thing is that roster changes. You get guys who get out or guys like call it contraband and then they get transferred. And so I'm constantly, having to redo a roster and learn everybody because, I like to make sure I know who every inmate is. We have ones that have to stay at the warehouse that are not allowed to travel. But then I also get inmates that are approved to travel statewide. So those are the ones that I'll take with me. If we go to Hunting Island State Park, all the way outside of Beaufort. And if I go, I'll usually take 2 or 3 guys with me and go down there and pick up all the recycling that the campsite and in that area has.
And you will actually serve our building. We've been working, Anna Grace is not here, but she's part of our green, or she's doing our green government initiative. So, she's trying to work with different state agencies to try to get the recycling up and running again. And I guess in order for different groups to use you, do they have to go through the Department of Admin?
Yeah, they can go right through us. The only thing is, we have to do a contract. And then, has to go through all that, all the state loopholes and all that. And my biggest problem right now is I am the only one doing all the administrative work for our facility. They make reports that you have to do, like how many hours they're working, so they get credit for the Palmetto Unified School District. So it's a lot, and I just, I'm drowning.
Well, thank you for taking time to come and hang out with us today. Through a very busy schedule. Well, do any of them have questions for me? I'll probably come back and pull you in a little bit more. I know Richard has spoken with you about potentially, helping out with the hub and spoke, and even though you are not a Palmetto City, you are still a group that we could heavily rely on through that.
We have a lot of groups. We figure 21 institutions statewide. I mean, just here in the Midlands, we have Manning, we have Kirkland Correctional Institution, we have Barterburg Correctional Institution, Camille Graham Correctional Institution, as well as Goodman Institution.
So that six within the group, within two.
And then, all of our headquarters, we have food service just right where I'm at. Commissary, we have canteen. Our canteen, if their snacks are outdated, like they just turn around. Sometimes, depending on how things are going, they can sneak us a couple of boxes and I let the guys eat, because the snacks are maybe outdated by like a week or gonna outdate in like 1 week, and it's stuff that they can't sell. Like your honey bun buns, all your little Debbie snacks, and so. I would love to find a way that they could stop throwing all the food away and just
Make it to where it's not. Samantha, did you hear that?
They're not actually bad.
That's the thing, is you can't give it to food ethics, and I don't understand.
So, this looks like they past the expiration.
Maybe I need to let you talk to my director and our food service director and see what we can.
I guess it's a work at heart, so.
Well, good to know we have those insights. Well, Mary, we'll like after this meeting, and Richard kind of lead a little bit more and strategize with that said. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I just wanted to, since Mary was a little bit not an oddball, but just a little different.
It's okay.
Yeah, in terms of dumpster diving, but I thought that would be helpful just to kind of let other people see that someone is handling things a little bit differently than what they're. But with that said, I guess I have us go around circling this, and Richland County, would you guys like to go and describe your permit a little bit more?
Sure. So Richland County Solid Waste is a little bit unique in the sense that our curbside program is mandatory, it's not optional. So in your solid waste fees, it covers the curbside collection and the use of our drop-off facilities and C&D landfill. We currently have populations a little over 400,000 for Richland County, but we have approximately between 92 and 93,000 households that we service with our curbside program.
We have 8 collections areas, 5 contractors for those areas. The county itself does not service those areas. We manage the contracts and contractors for those services. And that is weekly garbage, bi-weekly recycling, weekly yard waste, and appointment, bulk by appointment. We do allow, of course, the use of our drop centers for all of our residents, regardless if they are, if they pay the solid waste fees or not. So we do have a recycling center off of Clemson Road, across from Sandhills Shopping Center. And then we have a full service in Eastover and one at our current landfill location. Our convenience centers are clearly not convenient to Richland County. We have 2 basically. The third, with it being recycling on Clemson Road, is really just your curbside commodities. So we do, it's not a full service. So we do get a significant amount of participation at our landfill and drop-off sites, but we also get, I would say, use and abuse of our curbside bulk collection as well. So we do have a, actually, when we did a study about 3 years ago, our curbside collection rate or participation for recycling was between 40 and 50%. And that was after we had really put forth some effort in cleaning up our contamination. So we took a huge hit on that at first with tonnage, with just trying to correct it. But we did significantly decrease our contamination rate and was able to get one of the best, if not the best rates in South Carolina was to go for those, for that commodity, for those commodities, I'm sorry. But we've kind of, it was right in the middle of the pandemic, so we've not been able to enforce it as much as we have been. But we collect approximately 700 to 800 tons a month with those 92,000 residents. So we'd like to see the increase. I think for the most part, we have guided them with that, with the curbside program, and that they only get one garbage roll cart at their address with their solid waste fees. And if they want another, it's the entire fee again. So it's double. It's not like you get a discounted for, one cart for $5 or so. It deters for the most part that. And then what we do is then try to guide them into utilizing their recycling cart, because that's issued with their garbage cart, of course. So and utilizing that for those bulky items and those things that maybe they didn't think about before. So we try to use that opportunity to educate them. So we have seen, like I said, around that 40 to 50% a few years ago. It continues to be pretty steady. Of course, we're getting significant growth in Richland County. So that is something that we'd like to continue to increase with utilizing that program. Of course, the cost for recycling, it's not going down. So we are doing our best to still keep on track with that contamination. And with that, the way that we've been able to do that, and we'll continue to do that, is at the curb. We do have a tagging procedure, whether it be our collections inspectors, which the county has 6 currently. We have 8 on the books, but I've got 2 frozen to be able to use them in the landfill, because that's where we're struggling the most. So we have 6 to be able to patrol the county, ensure their contractors are doing their job. And they will, if we get a call directly, because the county handles the concerns, complaints directly. We do not allow them to contact the contractors. We take them all of those calls either in our call center in solid waste or the ombudsman's office. And then we will, if there seems to be something that's out of sorts, we will send our collections inspector to go and investigate so that they can take that opportunity to educate them curbside. That has made a significant difference in that at least recycling and contaminated carts. And we also had gotten the contractors on board for a short period of time, but it was also in the midst of the pandemic. So at that point, we literally had just came up with the slogan, just pick up the trash, because we just needed them to pick it up. I mean, that was it. Like, just get it and get out of here, because they were so delayed with all the challenges we had there. So we're trying to shift back in that to having them do it as well, communicate with our collections inspector. So we continue to do that and will do so. As far as recycling at our convenience centers, we take, for the most part, everything except for, of course, HHW and MSW. We are C&D only, so all of our MSW, of course, goes to waste management like everyone else. But our C&D location, we have been in existence for 50 years, our landfill. We had the most recent or our current cell that lost approximately 3.5 years of life on it in the last 4 years. So we've had to kind of quickly have worked through the expansion process, and bless you, SCD&S for working with us on that process. So we've been careful with trying to monitor what's coming into our landfill to make sure that we're not allowing any out of county waste. We're really, trying to make sure we're cracking down on that, asking all of our commercial customers, where's the job, where's it coming from, trying to divert as much wood waste as possible. We were understaffed and we're having a hard time trying, diverting that, especially during the heat. We took a significant hit with that. Because we didn't have any emergency debris management sites in Richland County or in nearby counties for anyone to utilize. And we took a big hit with that and taking it all in. We did, of course, get tipping rates for the most part, but our county, of course, took the hit with our roads and drainage clearing, majority of that working hand in hand with SDOT. So we kind of worked our way through it, but we lost some landfill life on that pretty quickly. So that's where a lot of our efforts are now, is being able to kind of make sure that we have anything we can divert, of course, within our drop-off sites. I think most of you had the same issue with mattresses a few years ago, where the one vendor that seems to have come back around, yeah. That he had just overnight ceased operations and we were almost scrambling. And we had purchased a shredder, mobile shredder, to be able to shred those mattresses. And I forget the number at this point. It's been so many years since we had gone through. I think it was like 7,500 units on a regular basis. But we were only sending mattresses, not for box springs. We were just sending mattresses. And so we would have very likely, in fact, I'm almost positive, we would have had to close the landfill had we had to the landfill all of those mattresses. In fact, we had a pile of mattresses as big as the landfill as we were working to get that shredder up and running. So that is one of those that we are working desperately to try to manage that coming in and recycle the material so that we can do just as the exact same process that vendor was doing, and pulling out the metal, recycling that, and then landfilling what we have left. But we've done, we've taken a significant amount of tires, so we are working to right that ship with the new law, and seeing what we can do, of course, to still make sure that we're not having them dumped on every road in Richland County, because as everyone knows, Richland County roads are not all that great when it comes to litter. So, and illegal dumping. So we're doing what we can to make sure that we're not, increasing that, but then also covering cost, and handling of that material. HHW, the prices have gone through the roof for us. Significantly. I forget even I've been Andy might be, I think I had him figure out the percentages. It's not even on a chart. It's off the chart. So that's one that we're struggling with a little bit currently. And we do have 2 collection events every year that we do, the HHW collection events, along with other commodities as well. We do not do e-waste collection events any longer, simply because the price has gone through the roof as well. But then we also allow for drop off at either one of our convenience centers. So we offer that any day of the week that we're open. So we are looking at trying to add a lithium ion battery
of recycling, because we've had, a number of truck fires within our county, not us specifically, but our contractors. And, also, of course, at the landfill, I don't like to call them landfill fires because they are not landfill fires. They're battery fires at the landfill. But we have those often that we're trying to make sure that we're monitoring what's coming in on those loads. And again, it's having enough staff to be able to do that. So we're working at trying to get spotters and getting the staff involved, to be able to monitor that more so, but then also provide an option. It's difficult for the messaging as far as Richland County, to just say, find a local, a local drop-off site or collection site if we don't offer that. And so we're doing our darndest to work with risk management and, with our county officials and legal, to see if we can get, that lithium, at least lithium ion battery, collection and recycling. And so that is, we're currently in the process of doing that. We're just stuck in legal. So, but as far as that, I mean, we have a great crew where we have a full-time staff of 37. We do work through the C&D landfill. We are looking at expansion. We're working through, right now, the going over the original cell, which was, initially 1974, was started. So we're going over and up on that. We've had a little struggle in the news lately, if you've seen, about rezoning property for the landfill. We've got that good to go. So we're done with that, so that we can kind of expand operations currently in this state about 10 years and hopefully working with a next phase to get us through the next 30, 40, possibly 50 years. So all of it, and I think that's what's so important, I want to say, because I do have my landfill crew here today, as well as with recycling and of course our deputy director, here just to kind of hear what's going on, what everyone's doing, so they understand it is all tied together. These guys, having them look out for those items and know what we've got to do to have, where we can, or what we can regardless, and I hate to say regardless of the cost. We do have to do that as our responsibility, but we like to be, as best we can, good stewards of our taxpayers' money. I am one of those in Richland County. So all of those tax dollars for the solid waste fees and all the services we it is a lot, and it is increasing every year. And so we know there is time coming that we're going to have to make changes. So all that I just shared with you now may be changing in the coming years. So I'm curious to hear, and I shout out to Lexington County. We talk regularly if he'll take mine. To kind of share and compare notes and work together so that we're not sending each other. So
that's why you're on different ends of the table. Thank you, Cindy. I'm assuming that, with the for the mattresses, because y'all had such a big load, is that because of USC being right down the road from y'all and just like the turnover of
I mean, there's a good bit that's commercial. I wouldn't say it's USC specifically. I mean, we do have some, I think it was Columbia University down the street, International International University. It's right down the street. We've had a number of them, as they recycle or go through, those mattresses will get involved. We've had empty warehouses that are in Richland County that they're dropping. But I'll be honest, every stinking Richland County resident must have already like cycled through 3 different mattresses in years. Yeah. It's insane. And it is not slowed down. I'd love to see if we talk about like when we're talking about fees on tires and appliances, they need to start putting them on mattresses, because I think it would be where people would be willing to buy a new one, send it back, and then get a new one for free. It's still a struggle, because even when you're handling them as they're coming in, because we're not burying them, if you could just drop them and bury them, but we're not, and we're having to basically we have at least 2 staff, at least, and that's at the very minimum, that are shredding.
And so normally to get it where it could be efficient, it'd probably be 4, where you're loading, you've got 2 trucks running, you know. So that's a significant hit for Compass. And it's not that, but I do know he's back in business. He did at least come. So we get a real pickle.
Well, and I guess in terms of, I think you all had mentioned like right now, you all may not be as interested in doing a hub and spoke program. What, why is that? You know, is it just kind of like, I know it sounds politically, you know, or, sometimes it can be hard to get things moving in terms of approval. Is that kind of the main reason? We were trying to figure out, you know, just giving kind of the,
Are you saying for mattresses?
or just, you know, in hub and spoke in general, you know, I know, again, we're focused on the food waste side, but, you know, is there an item or material that you all would be interested in doing as a hub and spoke if it's not food waste? And then in terms of food waste, is that something that like eventually you all would want to try to become involved? I mean, we have Lexington in the room, they're trying to get, they're a little bit ahead of people in terms of like trying to get, composting, set up. And, you know, you guys are the neighbors, so I'm just trying to, you know, get an idea of,
They can have all of our. So we do not take any type of MSW at our land. And I think because we, you know, that one would be, I would say, in the very far future, if it were ever to be considered. Because we offer those curbside services, or not offer, we mandated this, then it's for us to take another material on site. That is not something that we are permitted to take on site, and we don't want to have to go. We don't have the space to be compost either. So it would not be, that would be one of the very last of the commodities for us. Of course, encouraging people to not waste, you know, food, that's a different thing. But like I said, I think even getting them to utilize, you know, what they have in space with their garbage carts and the recycling carts and how to use them properly. But as far as food waste itself, that would be way off.
even at like, I know like Horry County, for example, they're kind of doing a pilot right now of at their convenience centers, having it where folks could come and drop off material. So, so even in that type of setting, you wouldn't see, at least right now, that would be as feasible.
I mean, it would have to be, we'd look at what is it something that we would say would be offered to residents that they could take the composting material afterwards, or I guess that would be what because again, everything incurs a cost, it requires staff, and right now, that particular one, inviting a new commodity like that for us, and yes, I know, art. Well, I was gonna say, and art was in Richland County, so we know we're all those guys. But I mean, and again, it's not that we're against it, it's just in order to be, you know, being best stewards of what we've got right now at our disposable resources. It's just not in the I would say the near future, but it wouldn't be that completely up.
And if it's not food waste, is there another type of commodity that you all would be more willing to jump on board and like try to be involved in?
I would say just if there's something that somebody would want us to, again, the idea, because it's not, if we're saying that the whole mattress thing, that's the cost that we're incurring with that, with just the maintenance on the shredder and operating it. And that for us is, we're still trying to find the money to make sure that can work. To be able to take in more of that particular, no, not anytime soon. But if there was something that we're talking glass, if it needed to be, you know, we've talked before many times. Again, Art started that conversation with having those collection sites at our different locations, to where if there was a vendor, it's just we could never get past the cost. That wasn't then. So, and not that we're completely out. If there was something that somebody was interested in, then we'd certainly be willing to talk.
Well, I guess that may be a good transition into the Lexington County side of things. Before we move on to Lexington County, does anybody have any specific questions or comments related to what Richland County shared?
You said you take the yard trash and drop off things.
Yes, we take care of trash. Well, except for recycling.
Would you guys like be interested in being a spoke, or are you saying because of just the cost of having more happening at your convenience centers and drop offs?
It would just depend on what it was. I think we'd have to, I mean, if you guys had some type of idea what it was, and that's right, again, I haven't been part of the conversations because we're.
Yeah, like my brain was going towards glass. You seemed a little bit more open to that. I know like food waste, like you said, is kind of more down the line.
You know, you have a vendor that'll pick it up for free, honey, you can put it wherever you want for. Yeah.
Well, York County said that they would be interested in serving as kind of the collection site for glass. I know it's a distance away, but it was more so, I think they were just, have the mindset of y'all can come and dump it off. And I think they said not having a tipping fee with it. It was just more so if people can transport it to them, then, you know, they can handle the glass there. So we're trying again to see, you know, what people are interested in. And if they're interested in the same things and they're somewhat close together, trying to put them together to, or get the conversation going between them. And again, knowing that Lexington is right across the board from y'all, seeing how that would need to look. Eventually if they, you know, are able to get things up and moving sometime soon, you know, further down the line, if y'all are willing to participate, if things are right with the logistics.
Yeah, and I think that's it. It's just knowing what it looks like.
We're open minded.
Yeah.
You know, conversations cheap. We could sit and talk and see if it makes sense and then if we can get our leadership support the initiatives that ready, willing, they can talk about it today.
Well, thank you guys. That was a great in-depth look at your program.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
Where's your vendor taking your MSW?
First moment.
Where is the vendor taking the MSW?
Waste management.
Like, where is that?
Scriven Eagle Road.
Yeah.
Where?
Scriven Eagle Road, Highway Church Road.
Oh,
Yeah, so in Elgin.
Okay.
And you said you have 6 contractors who are taking, like, they're going to the different residents and taking that material.
We have 5,
Five.
which everyone knows the players in the room, they're all the same. So it's CWS, GFL, New South, Johnson's, I think is unique to us. I think you guys have those, but you might have in the past.
We've had Johnson.
Have you had Johnson's? Okay.
Three.
And Meridian is the new one. Waste management is, y'all can have them. So, we have 8 contracts. So it's 8 different collection areas, but 5 contractors. They can have, on average, 2, but high performing can have up to 3 areas.
And the residents are not responsible for determining like who they're using. You all just kind of like break it up by almost like by quadrant and all.
Yes.
Okay.
So in their collection area, they are assigned a contractor, whether they like it or not. They don't get to choose not to participate.
Okay. Right, but in Lexington County, y'all are set up in a similar way of having different contractors, but are the residents responsible for, I guess?
So ours, we have 7 collection areas and we bid out the areas and kind of set the prices. And then, so basically we tell the residents who they can use. So area 1 is Capital Waste, area 2 is New South. So we do the bidding, get the lowest prices and we kind of monitor, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. But the agreement is specifically between the resident and the business.
And it's not mandated.
It's not mandated, it's voluntary. So ours is kind of a hybrid system, I guess.
And that's for both trash and for recycling.
So it was similar to yard waste and household is weekly, and then recycling is every other week. And then we also have to bulk pick up. But I'm not sure how much that's utilized because they contact the vendor directly for the bulk pickup. So it's probably not used that much.
Well, you got to charge, which helps to deter some of that,
Yeah.
which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's like 35, I think most of them are $35.
Yeah.
So, on the company couch, that's $35. Yeah.
Would y'all like to go into a little more detail? I just put Lee on the spot, but if somebody else was gonna speak for,
I can't speak as fluently as she did on just throwing up everything. So I'm gonna defer to.
Well, Lynn, it's been the last 2 days picking my brain, and she's got the front line, so you know, she got one.
Just answering the questions that you had out. So, in Lexington County, the households, we have 140,000 approximately. So in the franchise districts, unlike Richland County, we don't mandate, so they have a choice to use it, and they can use our 11 collection sites. And so that within the franchise districts, there's 103,000 households, and the households that are enrolled is approximately 40,000. So the rest of them are utilizing the collection centers, which I said there's about, there's 11 of those. And outside of curbside at those 11 collection sites, they can drop off additional like motor oil and gas, antifreeze, cooking oil, furniture via the yard waste container. And as far as electronics, we don't have them drop off at the collection sites. They come straight to the landfill or participate in the HHW event that we host at Republic on Cox Ferry. And that happens on a Friday, a select Friday, Saturday each month. And then there's one instance in November that we host an HHW in Chapin. And we don't take electronics because the costs there, but we don't take electronics at that HHW event in Chapin. And that's kind of a council driven initiative because Cox Ferry is so far for Chapin to go. Let's see.
What do y'all do with tires?
We collect them at, is it certain or all?
We got 7 collection centers.
Okay, that's
We've got a strategically placed because we knew that we were gonna be overrun with tires than we did. And when we put containers at the collection center, we used our yards, not the vans. Within 2 years, we doubled our amount of tires. So I'm sure we're looking contractor tires at the other sites, but it's a limit of 4 per we say 4 per household per day, but I'm sure our people pay attention to that. Yeah, I've personally been in the site one day and the container was empty in the afternoon, and I went back the next morning and it was full, and I'm like, how did that happen? And looked at the video of a dang U-Haul truck backed up to the container and spent 3 hours unloading. And the site staff never said a word. But, you know, in their defense, we have occasionally had people with guns on ours. Attendance, because somebody said, hey, you got to put that over there. And you have to get mad and get pulled gun. So 7 of our 11 sites, we take tires and then waste 9, also back, to the landfill. And then we use Ridge, which is a division of Riverview Tire, which is a division of US Tire. So they pick up all our tires from the landfill, which we're doing 2,400 tons a year, I think. Minus.
Really?
Yeah. So that more or less than you're doing.
That's double.
Yeah. We used to be like 900 to 12 a year. Or you'll probably get all the games because there's.
We get more when my friends.
We
That's because we're getting all y'all's back.
A couple years ago, I did follow a truck. You know, they come in 2 or 3 times a day, a box truck, and it's swimming pool. And he ended up in Richland County when I followed him. And I talked to him, and he said, "Oh well, those are from Lexington. I told them now. So yeah. As long as our prices our tire prices typically is gonna go up to cover our costs.
Right.
Plus equipment and labor, all that stuff. So as long as Rich keeps up, I mean, I don't care who brings it because it's not gonna really, theoretically, it's not gonna cost us anything and what they're paying for.
However, we do have a cap. on What comes to landfill is.
Yeah. Because we've had people show up with a tractor trailer, a tire, and we're gonna know. If you got it on the tractor trailer, you can haul it, you can haul it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, about, and we're limited to dump trucks, like they call it, we have certain people who call ahead. So if you got like a dump truck or a roll-off container, something like that, we need to go somewhere else, but.
You don't make them stack. And the truck.
No.
No, we live load. All the tires, so the truck shows up and we load them with a loader. And we generally get 12 tons, they want us to have 12 tons on a trailer.
You don't have a lot of residents coming to your plant.
Yeah, it seems to be we're getting over, pickup trucks and trailers are killing us right now. On our line sometimes can be 30, 45 minutes long.
I'm shocked because was y'all having all the drop off center. I figured most of the residents get to the drop off center.
There's some of them that we've got a drop off center right outside the gate.
You're right.
And the days we're open, they'll drive right by. To come wait in that line at the landfill. I hope it does. They'll come down and go, they have 4 bags of household trash.
Yeah.
And I asked one of them one day, well, this is what we've already done. I said, but you could be on your way out. Yeah, it's only by then. But they'll come wait in line, so.
There's compactors that fill up that they go. Mattresses and. We have had problems with at the collection centers receiving box trucks and large trailers full of material that you know that they're contractors. And again, the staff is too scared to, whatever it is, don't want to engage. We do have 9 of our collection centers are staffed by Badcock employees, if you're familiar with them, special needs. And, so.
But we have some areas that, there is some people that you don't want to say no to because they're ready to fight you over, they're ready to shoot you.
Well,
yeah. That over some trash. And these people are just ridiculous. And I'm just like, I just don't understand you. It's like we have one scale, so we have to weigh them in and out. People don't like weighing or the way out, but I have to control the line coming in too and be able to stop. And I've had one last Friday chew me out, said I took too long to let him go out. And I had a line going both ways and he really cussed me out. Ready to fight? Want me to come outside, fight.
We're up to 3 scales now. A couple weeks ago, we opened our 3rd scale, so we've got 2 in and 1 out.
One self-serve, one self-serve.
The second inbound scale is self-serve for people who have accounts, permanent vehicles.
Yeah. We're doing all that through one scale. One scale.
How many transactions a day are you going to do?
We're doing over 200, at least over 200 transactions.
Well, we're close to 100 on the automated scale by itself. So we do 400 to 500 transactions a day in our scale. But it's busy. We couldn't do with just one scale.
But we have the MSW.
Yeah.
So in addition to. And then, of course, organized management is on the site, which is the composter. Want me to continue?
Good.
Okay, well, go ahead. If you're gonna jump in, go ahead.
So, our processes are pretty much, it's pretty similar to saying as everybody else, curbside recycling goes over to Sunoco. We're a little bit different as we still allow glass in 2 hours. And I guess it's basically because we're not paying for it. So the residents are paying for it through their monthly fees through signing up for the hauler, but we make the hauler pay for the recycling, the sort of fees that Sunoco. I don't know what everybody else's sort of fees are, but the last one I saw was like $88 per ton sorting over at Sunoco. Do you know what your sort fee is at Sunoco? You said you had a low one.
Well, it fluctuates every month, but I think, we're right below 70, so it's at 60.
Do you get audited every year or?
You mean, but so we do, so our contract has it written that we can, request a, composition study. We did one a few years ago, and we did them 2 or 3 right back to back, with each other to get a good number. And that's how we have a weighted average price.
Yeah.
So our weighted average price is based on that composition. So our majority of what our composition is OCC and, paper goods. So that paid to our benefit before. It's not, then when cardboard crashed, it went to the wayside. And when we watch the markets, unfortunately, it is a game. It's a market and it fluctuates significantly. So we were getting paid. And I don't mean like 10 years ago, I'm talking 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We were getting paid. And then it's recently gone to where that's the tough part is it's twice what we pay for invested. But it fluctuates, but I want to say it's been consistent for the past probably 8 months of going up, where it used to be 3 to 4 months, it'd kind of fluctuate and it would ebb and flow to where it would kind of right itself. It hasn't. And so we just renewed our contract with Sunoco, based on the composition from the previous study. They would allow us to do that in order to keep that rate where that weighted average price is still low. But I know you guys don't own I know this for Lori and that she tried with you guys, but we own the material, but because we're the owner of that material, then we can request that. I think you guys have the problem that all of your contractors are the owners.
Yeah, it's
of
right
that.
during that.
So they will not allow you to do that. Yeah.
So all our scrap metals, CMC, we're, scrap metals about 30% compliance, so they're about 70%. We have, 30-yard or 20-yard boxes at all our collection sites. And then we have big pile up the landfill, scrap metal. Collection centers, we don't take anything with pre-on, we bring it to the landfill. Or we're required to be brought to the landfill, we charge a $15 fee for all that. Per item. So that the business or resident, everybody pays it. But yeah, anything with a refrigerant, I think is what, so I don't think pre-on being used anymore, in terms of refrigerant. So many different things, but in the past, there was a charge to us for $15 per item. We cover that stuff from CMC to processing. They don't charge us that anymore, but we never got the immediate sale because another revenue item. We're a little bit different with our oil filters. I think most people use universal. We actually have a crusher, oil filter crusher that extracts all the oil out, and CMC makes that. So we collect the filters at the collection sites, and each guy's got his drums taken back, to pull all the trash out, and then all the metal filters go into the filter crusher, and those get picked up by CMC. Waste management hauls all our yard waste and MSW from our collection centers. I think we're generally, I don't know what breakdown is, stuff at about 8,000 to 9,000 tons a month through our collection centers. It's about 600 to 700 hauls. So I think that's our biggest challenge right now is waste management with our collection sites. They'll have, containers they carry over to the next day, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon before they get anything called up. That's called in yesterday, and now they got just this meeting on the books that they had. So that's been the last 2 months, I think. We do have fines built into that contract, so they have 3 hours to pick it up. After 3 hours, they start accruing the fines. We don't actually charge them unless we turn somebody away. So I think last month we charged, or it's February, I don't have March numbers yet. February we charged over $9,000 in money fines. So
I think they've gotten charged.
yeah, so yeah, I'm not report. We don't want to get the break. I think it was break time.
Yeah, it was right around that, but
Yeah.
you were on the roll, so.
I see it like getting up and going. So,
I think it's something.
I'll get you that section. I don't know. So yeah, there's a potential of $186,000 because of the number of hours that they were late, but since we only charged them if we turned people away, it only ended up being 9,000. We have got part-time guys, kind of mainly retirees that we call recyclers. They haul our plastics, batteries, we do fluorescent bulb recycling, with the bulb crusher. They pick up the glass, tires. So all our plastics and aluminum are in the wire mesh trailers. Plastic goes to Sunoco. Aluminum comes back to the landfill. We have a flattener. So they break all that into that machine and shoots them into the trailers. Actually, a CMC out of Charlotte that picks that up. Which you only do 4 or 5 tons on the trailer. It could take 1 to 3 months depending on. And during summertime, it's a lot busier, a lot more light in there. Our batteries, the guys collect them, bring them back to the landfill. The interstate batteries picks them up, they're paying us like the market price for that. The fluorescent bulbs, that one's kind of expensive. Again, you have to buy the machine. The machine lasts 4 or 5 years. You have to buy another one, but it kind of beats itself to death. Do y'all do bulk? Can anybody else do bulk program?
We have the bulk and TerraCycle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's, I would estimate because it's been a while since it's been close to like $1 a pound to recycle that stuff. So in a 55-gallon drum is more than 500 pounds. So we send off the shipments $3,000 to $4,000 at a time. So I think we're doing, we probably do $15,000 to $20,000 a year in those controls. And generally we don't take them from businesses, but I'm sure we're getting them from businesses. Our glass just gets dumped into a bunker at the landfill, and then it's actually Glassworks still has the contract, but they are selling it to Strategic and then cutting us a check. So yeah, that was the previous director, baby, not mine. I think that contract that contract is finished in next year, so I'm hoping we get back to Strategic to cut out another again. And then tires, we already talked about tires. Universal picks up our motor oil, Green Energy Biofuel picks up cooking oil. We don't get charged for either of those, collection of the cooking oil, motor oil. Green Energy Biofuel provides the containers. Our containers are horrible right now. They look like they're from a third world country. So we're working on getting that stuff cleaned up. They did have little 30-gallon containers when they went to the big 250-gallon kind of totes. And they retrofitted them themselves, and it's horrible. A couple things that we used to do, but we don't do anymore. We gave plastic bags a go. That was that's tough, especially collecting at the collection site. The biggest thing on that is like anything else is the contamination. About the only people that'll take it is Prex, and they wanted 5% or less on contamination. Our biggest issue was keeping the stuff dry at our collection sites. We got the 96-gallon roll carts, and we hoped that might be a better job. But it didn't. I mean, everybody burned it soaking wet. It's food in it, food wrappers, cat litter, you name it, they're going to throw it in there. We used to take textiles. That was years ago that we stopped that. Same thing, somebody have a pile of clothes out on the back porch for 3 years and the dog made a bed out of it, and then they thought, well, I'm just thinking of throwing this textile bin over here. So we just had all kinds of issues with that. So we don't do that anymore. Just
a specific example of the dog made a bit.
Yeah. I mean, because
Could be visualized, but.
yeah, I mean, some of this stuff was nasty. I mean, I wouldn't even want to put it in the car and bring it, burn it in the backyard. But same thing with mattresses. We don't do mattresses anymore because 9 Lives. But he did call. or he called or emailed, I think. Yeah. Saying they were back in business and they had a shredder and all that good stuff. We used to do carpet and carpet padding, Southeastern Recycling. What was that guy's name? I don't remember his name. John Botock.
Yeah.
So
He went out of business.
he went out of business. I don't think anybody else does.
No,
Yeah. And I don't know much about it. I know previous director, he wanted to do shingles recycling. So we have a separate fee for shingles. It's currently the same as the C&D rate, but that's something that I think I'm gonna look into. I mean, he was always wanting to do that. I just don't feel like doing the shingles other than grind them up or what. I don't know.
You have to have vendor, unless there's a vendor that'll take it. Other than you don't have to run over a landfill, which is basically.
Well, in some towns, they take it and they get a different price for cleaning shingles.
Yeah.
Which is no nails and then they take it and use it for the roof bed. They actually shred it and use it for the roof bed. Have someone come in and shred it and then they use that for the roof bed.
We currently do that with concrete, asphalt, brick, porcelain, we grind
But
it.
how do you control like with rebar and everything else in it?
We don't, we get it all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So their shredder will actually grind up the rebar with.
Yeah, and it has a magnet on the belt. I mean, it doesn't get it all out.
Yeah.
But it gets a lot of it out. And some of it, they take when, they have, we call it a hammer or whatever, and they kind of break it down before they put it in and they get a lot of the metal out that way of breaking it up. Some of the challenges, is staffing, I guess, staffing is the issue for everybody. For our collection sites, because we have so many, we don't have a lot. Like I think Orangeburg has like 23 sites, and I had never clue how they staff all those sites. But I think they put like one person at each site. We partner with the Babcock Center. And when I say partner, I mean pay a lot of money. They use folks that, might have some sort of special needs disability and they give them a job. And they operate our compactors. Then they have like a crew sheet reader at every site. So they've got probably 60 to 70 employees at our sites. So if we had to staff all those, there's no way we can do it. We have 15 site attendants that the county employees. 8 of those are at our Batesburg and Summit sites, because we staff those 100%, and then our others are spread out between the sites that are our visitor sites, kind of help out.
Like we got 8.
Eight site attendants, and you got about 3
So
sites.
we got 2 down there, so we got about 10 employees altogether.
Yeah. So we got a lot of contract employees. I think if we did everything in-house ourselves, we gun contractor, we need about 250 employees to do it all.
We can.
So we have same issues with contamination curbside and the collection centers. I was out at Ballpark Road site on Saturday and just stuff people were throwing in there. I'm like, that sounds old trash. That's it. Give it back. The stuff that people were throwing in there, it was like, what do you think? Oh. But, so I hate the terminology, there's no good way to make it where people understand, because they had their garbage in their pickup truck in the backyard for 3 months before they haul it off with yard trash. Yeah, it's not that self. So, we even put pictures on the signs and that doesn't happen. So, but for a curbside, we would like to do, some waste or some recycling audits, contamination audits for our Sunoco stuff. As we mentioned earlier, we don't own the material, so Sunoco won't do it. we have to jump through hoops to get it done. Probably should put that in a fund. I don't think it's in our contract as far as, doing that, but we could probably start adding that to our,
Where does your contract?
the hauler pays it.
So it's their rate, whatever their rate.
Yes, but if if we put that in our contract, which we just put 4 contracts out, so. It'll be several years before we do that, but we've got one coming up in the fall that we will put that in the contract. Maybe every 2 years or something, or maybe when all of that. The clearinghouse program for electronics, we haven't been participating in that. We started out we did it the first 2 years, I believe, and it was great. I mean, our invoices went down like $300 a load. I mean, it wasn't, because we recycle more than just the colored electronics, so we had to pay some stuff. But every year, we started the first year, we couldn't keep our original, we had to go to a new one. When we went the next year, and they swapped us again, they swapped us to somebody else. And then the next year, they would swap us back to the vendor we had in the beginning. They're like, we're not doing this because logistically, the way we do things, we don't do it the way Clearinghouse does. So, we wanted to keep the same people, so they're giving us like, how do you call it? Free market rate or something. So, let's see. I'll let you finish. I'll start calling.
Where's your drink?
Oh,
Vendor limitations, like everybody with Sunoco passed on waste management, the driver shortages are affecting us. Terribly. Because, they're move them around as best as they can on storage space, so it's good capacity for certain materials, so you guys. Let's see. Oh, he's gonna miss it. So, program strengths, we have high material volume at drop-off centers, which is a strength and not a strength, because I think a lot of contractors are coming through. Do we say no box trucks? No trailers. We tried to reduce the size of trailers, but who's gonna measure, are we again, the gun getting pulled out on you, all that. So how do we manage what comes into those centers? And then the other strength is exceptional leadership at the department's helm.
oh goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought we put that in there.
How do y'all control how many people come into your drop off site as far as how many times they can?
We don't.
Yeah, it's a free for all.
So if that's something that we're running into, and what we want to do is try to put a program, there is programs out there that will keep in your information and let them know. I always telling Cindy like a barcode program where you give someone a barcode for each address and get 4 times a month. That's 4 times. You scan the barcode, that lets you know they've been in there. It'll tell you how many times they got left and everything else. We're trying to find the software to do that. So this way we can control, because we get a lot of people that come in and say it's coming from their house, but there's no way to prove it's coming.
Right.
And a lot of times it'll be a contractor. He could have the shirt on that he does contract work, but he'll still argue with you if he's coming.
Yeah, he's got it flat around, flat around.
His roof, I mean, have his weed eaters on the back, but he's a landscaping guy. No, this is coming from my house. That's all we hear all the time. And
Well, they've gotten tricky, man. They know that they can put, their logos on magnets.
and so the whole
On
thing.
the clear trucks before they come.
So this way, you don't know that it's coming from their house. And what's funny is the bill's only gonna be $1, $2, $3, but they still want to save that $3. So that's one of the things that I told Cindy, I don't see why all counties just don't charge 1 set fee for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that there's smaller counties, but it deters people from saying, okay, Why should I go to Lexington County and have to pay $42 when I can go over here to Richland County and I'll have to pay $28? You think they're not gonna take that option to go over there and save that money on their contract? Cause that's cheaper. They're gonna charge the customer 3 times the amount, but still they get to keep all that profit. So, yeah. That's one of the things why I say we should just charge all across the county the same price.
We've been talking.
Huh?
I think you should introduce that legislation.
Oh, look.
Richland County is significantly lower than Lexington County on our tipping fees, and we are going to attempt to write the ship this year. So,
Yeah.
so we do try to communicate to keep that in check. And I'll say, because I think, and to mention on that, because I know that we've also talked about tracking the residents, because we've all had the same problem. And I will be the first one to attest, even firsthand, Beaufort County has a fantastic program. And I will be reaching out to them. I actually partake in that program in Beaufort County with their tracking program. And it is a barcode, and it does track. I think you've got three visits a week. But they, of course, do not have a landfill. They have to ship everything out. So it is very specific with their rules. We would have to tweak that with Richland County, with the ordinance and what we have. But I think, we've talked about tracking visits. I think you guys have about tracking using the tag reader, I think, in different things.
Either, I'm kind of throwing out brainstorming and I'll have to get with some kind of vendor to see what we can do. I'm thinking something very similar to like a toll road system, whether it's a tag reader or RFID, to number one, try to limit the out of county and try to limit the number of visits. I don't think council's gonna let us limit the number of visits, but I think they'll let us limit the out of county stuff, or cut that out of county stuff out. And if we do the RFID reader that scans every car that comes in, we'll be able to do that. But
Because, think about it, most of the food lines and everything else, they have barcode systems in place for them to keep up with their stock. So it's no different than what we would have to do. Is they scan a barcode and that tells you how many products on that shelf, and that's how they do it. So it'd be the same way. Only thing you'd be taken away. If they get 4 limit 4, you scan that barcode, that gives them 3 limit. That one barcode assigned to that one address, so it doesn't matter what vehicle he drives. That's the only barcode that you can.
exactly. So if they got 10 cards, you'll see
It doesn't matter. That same barcode,
you
right?
can only go 4 times. But
So, step one,
So they have full sticker or.
barcode,
But it's all attached to an app.
so somebody's there.
barcode's gonna be named,
Okay.
but everybody wouldn't have to do that.
Right.
And the ones, the car wash has cheap readers, but in fact, technology that they have, like on the toll roads, probably gonna be a little more expensive, but it catches you at 60 miles, 70 miles an hour. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would like to do, because our sites, like Ballpark Road, there was an issue out there Saturday, so I went there. And from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., there was a vehicle through the gate every 23 seconds on average. That was, but we have vehicle counters that count the cars. Every vehicle every 23 seconds. So somebody scanning a barcode won't work for us. We gotta have something that kind of high speed. But that we it would definitely. But were y'all closed on Good Friday? Your sites, drop off sites? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Only Lexington County.
We got this line. Yeah. So he said that her sites are not conveniently located for her residents, but mine. Yeah.
It's originally.
Yeah.
Do you want to reach out? Share out their program. They did fine over there. Yeah, that's okay, but we still want to hear it.
All right, I'm Jody. I'm recycling coordinator for Newberry County. We have approximately, I think, 39,000 folks in our county. This is Doug. He's also, him and I together, a huge, operation we got in Newberry, full staff too. We have, there was one, we thought curbside pickup, in Newberry County, which was the town of Prosperity. But we recently discovered that that's not the case. They're paying for recycling, but they're bringing it to our transfer station and dumping it with trash.
Okay.
So we have found that out. We have 12 drop-off sites, one transfer station, one limb and yard debris site. All of our MSW, C&D goes to Union, right, or Wildcat and Union. Each of our 12 recycling sites, we take MSW, we have compactors there and they're open to all county residents, Richland County, like whoever, everybody used them apparently. But, all of our sites have single stream. That is our primary recycling method. We also, all sites have 20-yard metal container, roll-off containers where we accept metal. We have 4 cubic yard containers where we accept glass, used oil, cooking oil. All of our sites, we take e-waste, lead acid, batteries. We just started a partnership with Redwood on lithium batteries. So we're new to that side of things. All of our e-waste and all of our batteries, Doug collects from each site. He takes it to one general location site, which is where we do the vendor. The shipping goes from there. Let me see. Let me think. Doug, what do you got to add to this? Let's see. Everything is contracted through Republic Services. All of our hauling, single stream, our compactors, they pick up from our drop-off locations. They take it to our transfer station. All of our sites are manned by Newberry County Council on Aging, which is definitely an issue that we run into with, as far as we have no say so, no anything when it comes to who was hired, who's brought in. A lot of times, the knowledge of, what they lack. It's a difficult thing in our position because we're always kind of the middleman, so to speak. So that's a tough situation for us. Let's see. What we like to add, more staff, more employees. We'd love to have more employees. And Doug's retired at the end of July, so we're gonna be down to just one. And they're really gonna be in trouble anyway.
You've got our workforce by 50%.
So yeah, all MSW for the county comes in our transfer station, whether it's the city of Newberry, town of Prosperity. Same with the C&D, all of it comes together. We accept tires at one location, which is our transfer station recycle center. And we charge at $150 per ton. We don't do any free tires. We used to do 4 free, what was it? Week or month or per visit, I think it's what it is. Now, supposedly there's no free tires. They have to weigh them. But if one tire doesn't weigh 20 pounds on our scale, it's free. So we're still doing free tires. But we're honestly, we're kind of behind from you guys, the counties, larger counties and stuff. We're not, we don't offer all of the things that you guys do, but we do offer basically any type of recycling. We do offer a way for our folks to recycle. And I don't even know what our participation rate probably would be, probably lower, of course, than what we would like for it to be. But our sites stay pretty busy. I would say some of them, they're open, 3-4 days a week, depending on half day on Sunday. Some sites see upwards of 200 to 300 cars a day. Just depends. No, of course, not all of those folks are recycling. We seem to have a problem with our folks our single stream recycling containers are lime green, have recycling on, but people still like to throw, MSW in there for some reason. But I don't know why, but we do have that issue a lot. Yeah, yeah. And it's, sometimes it's kind of lines along, so we're trying to do a lot more with, the signage now. We're trying to make things a lot more, well, as clear as we possibly can. Not that people read signs, but, you know, so. And our glass goes to Sunoco as well. Republic hauls it there. They say they do, we get charged for it. So I'm guessing that's what they do with it. Our e-waste is, green chip. And we've had the same issue with the clearinghouse. We had Powerhouse, worked great for us. They gave us an 18-wheeler trailer. We were able to load it. When we got a full load, we called them, they came, picked it up, left us a spare trailer. We're limited in space. So now we're having to do live loading. It's caused us pretty big issues. We've had some issues with them not showing up on time. So we just opted back in again. So we must like torture. But that's kind of where we're at with that. Doug, anything you want to add to it?
Nothing other than as far as the e-waste goes, we went from where it was, I would say, minimal cost to no cost most of the time, and now it's the cost every time that we get rid of our e-waste.
Yeah, Powerhouse, we really never got any invoicing for anything, but now we do between $300 to $500 usually every time. And our tires are taken to what is it, Amerisco SC tire. And we're usually it's an 18-wheeler trailer that's there. The residents, when they bring them, we have a lot of these mom and pop places bringing tires 20 at a time. You know, we have a lot of that, but we usually, our 18-wheeler trailer usually leaves once, probably every other week. So probably 2 times a month. And it's usually between 8 to 10 tons on each trailer that we send off.
And the city doesn't collect curbside stuff. So it's city folks.
That's right. Everybody is using our sites as far as recycling. That is the only thing that's in the county. Besides what the town of Prosperity was, so yeah, I was going straight to the to our transfer station. And I called that because riding through the town, I've seen different colored cans out. And so I called the town administrator and was discussing it with her because the solid waste, everything shows we have 0 curbside program. So I wanted to try to find that out. And little, to me, we do have 0 because they're charging for that and they're picking it up on separate days and things of that nature. But instead of taking it to be recycled, they were just taking it to the transfer station. So I have not been involved in those conversations. She said that it was Good Old Boys as a contract. I don't know if anybody's dealt with them. I think they're out of Saluda County. Good Old Boys. When I heard the name, so apparently she said they were going to have some meetings with them, and I don't know. This I just discovered this just a few weeks ago. So
They have always had separate bins. They do it.
just you.
And they noticed when Good Old Boys came that it's the same truck. They come in the morning, they come in the afternoon, but it's the same truck. And my in-laws questioned it. They're like, I think that's really good.
We have a fee for recycling at the landfill, so all of our curbside stuff, our cities and towns, if it's residential material, they don't pay. So if there's a transfer station, it's 0. If they dump a load of recycling, it's $118 a ton. So it happens occasionally. It doesn't happen that often, but there'll be a truck that was parked with that night before, and the supervisor say, "Hey, go to the landfill, dump that truck." Well, it was recycling, and so thank you. You went from 0 to $118 a ton.
Could be contained sometimes.
Well,
Give
they-
them the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly. We had two last week. We had two come in last week. Like I said, it doesn't happen often, because when they get that bill, $118 a ton, they figure out where the problem is and they fix it. It's absolutely. Y'all can do something like that as well too, we just take pictures of the load, take pictures of your truck, and then we charge.
Yeah, do they come under that, like, do they come in under the guise of like, it's just trash, and then based off of what y'all identify in it, then you realize it's receptive, you're determining it's recycling? Okay.
Yeah, because if it's recycled, it's obvious when it comes out of the truck. There's nothing, most of everything's not bagged. There's a lot of cardboard, a lot of plastic. So, whoever's in the transfer station, they'll send me 2 or 3 pictures, and we'll adjust the ticket.
With us, we staff the scales at our transfer station as a county employee, but Republic also operates our transfer station. They operate the hauling from the transfer station to Union. So everything that we do is, it's more hands off than what I'd like for it to be, but I've been in this role not quite 2 years, and that's just kind of the way that it's been since I've stepped in here. So, we pay really hefty invoices every month to Republic and to the county council on aging. That I would like to see us go a little different direction, but that's not for me to decide. Hopefully Ted's going to make some. Because right now, basically, we're just providing the dirt and electricity for these sites. We're not doing anything else. So.
And we only have about 15 more minutes. So I just wanted to see if anybody has any questions, or I just don't think I would do it for Lexington, but for Lexington and for Newberry.
How do you know that the stuff that you're generating is actually coming from your citizens and not from Republican or commercial side?
All we offer is, it's supposed to be for county residents only at our drop off site.
Right.
So, whoever, if there was a commercial, if they wanted to come and use it, I guess they could, but
Well, I was just saying, how do you know it's not one of the Republicans' commercial vendors? They put a throw off there at one of, let's say it's Joe Blow's Construction. They put a container there. How do you know it's actually being generated from your site and not from someone else? You know what I'm saying?
I guess we probably, we would. Yeah,
The only working out money for they got Republicans all in it.
the only thing that we, like I say, is the single stream. That's the only thing that we're charged when the public hauls it to Sunoco. We pay their hauling plus we pay Sunoco's fee. That's outside of that. That's it. There's nothing else that we're charged for that comes from there.
But like with Republicans landfill, you're using Republicans landfill union, or is it someone else?
No, I guess Republic owns the landfill there, and that's our MSW and C&D all goes there. They call it, they have 18 wheelers that they stage at our transfer station, and everything's pushed off, and then they haul directly to you.
No, because I was about the thing when you mentioned recycling. Like you guys, do you take recycling at your drop sites as well? But it's commingled, right?
This all our stuff separated.
Yours is, I was gonna say, because that was the one thing for us, because again, we have the contract with Sunoco directly, so our drop sites, we had commingled cans, which were basically dumpsters. So what we did is we did pilot it out at Clemson Road where we were separating the materials. So now we're not paying the commingled price. We are getting paid for the aluminum. We're getting, and glass, believe it or not, is cheaper than commingled recycling. So when you're encouraging them to put the glass there, you're paying, we only pay $50 a ton for glass. And at this point it was more before when we were getting paid, but for now we're actually coming out ahead. But if you're able to separate those materials, and you can get a rate where they'll separate and give you, price per commodity versus the commingled. Commingled fills.
You do have to say that Phil and Brown.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that site's actually going away. It's going to single stream as well, July. So that's the only site that currently now you separate, any commodity there, but it's going to Single Stream too.
The only thing that we have across the board that is separated is glass. We have separate glass containers at each of the box sites. And everything else, yeah, metal and everything else will be to me.
Where's your glass go?
We have, like, was it 4 yard cans?
It's 4 yards, it's 4 yard containers. Republic comes when it's full from the site. They'll pick it up, they take it to one central location site of ours. They dump it in a 20 yard roll-off container, then it's hauled to Sunoco.
Just a no-go.
That's what they tell us, and that's.
Oh, it's corners of the market over there.
Yeah. We would love to bring it in-house and start doing some of this ourselves, but, you know, that's not a snap of a finger kind of thing. You know, it's gonna take some time. You know, getting council on board. A lot of times, you know, I don't know if you guys counted, but our council, if it's not in front of them, if they don't have a problem, then they're not.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the way it is. If they don't see it, even when you put numbers in front of them, I mean, we've shown them, I mean, we're paying in just a haul to Union close to, I think it's $2.5 million a year. And Republic is getting close to $50,000 a month for just our recycle sites. So, I mean, we're spending a lot of money that we could be doing some things differently, but.
I wish I had those kind of numbers.
I know, right?
Joe, I'm assuming. Solid, the survey.
Yeah, I don't know, right now, we would even be where we would be at as far as, I guess, manpower, things of that nature. But we'd always be willing to listen and, you know, anything we can try to learn and do differently, we're on board with that, for sure, so.
I guess what your operations are looking like in terms of getting working set up.
Okay, if I say something wrong, correct me. So we have an agreement with Organics Management who's on our site currently, and they're in the back portion of our site. So they have, you know, everybody has to go through the scale and we capture numbers. But they process green waste and food waste, but the food waste that they receive is not from your average resident consumer. It's more industrial.
We're working towards that, so
Yes.
it's like soon. So
Okay.
currently no food waste, but there isn't, and I guess it's kind of does make us a little bit of a hub because it's coming from out of county. There's a business that manufactures casings for sausage and Slim Jim and stuff like that. So it's kind of I guess like a cellulose product.
They're in town too.
Kind of, yeah, we're gonna be accepting that as it's kind of a food waste, but I think it was classified as industrial waste, so we had to modify the operating permit to be able to accept that.
And they're going to be moving towards the end of the year. We're timbering, clearing and grading 20 acres in front of our site. So they'll have their own address. And they currently charge the public $30 per yard and then $60 per yard for compost. And they collect payment directly from the customers, and they provide their own staff to operate the site and handle those transactions. The incoming material, residents pay $28 a ton to drop off their green waste. And this will increase to $29?
Yeah, businesses, not residents. Residents are free.
Free, okay, sorry.
Residents are
Sorry, I
free.
didn't-
Yeah, businesses are,
I've typed this.
yeah, going $29 per.
But fees, paid to Organics Management, though, we pay $37.50 per ton for green waste. And food waste per ton is not established yet, and that's something, as Blanca said, we're working towards. And the benefits to the county, even though we're paying them for, the green waste that they're processing. Eventually it will reduce food waste entering into the landfill, and then decreases the leachate production. And then supporting county sustainability goals and provides a local resource for compost and mulch for residents and commercial users. Their biggest consumer of their product, their compost product, is golf courses throughout the nation. So they've cornered the market on that. Let's see, anything else that we need to?
So when are they expecting to be able to set up shop in the front of your site in the end of the year?
We're hoping by the end of the year, we've already got the agreement signed, for the timbering of the property, so whenever that happens, we're kind of at the mercy of the timber company now. So we're hoping in the next couple months, they'll be able to get in there and timber that, because it's a company that's timbering a neighboring property to us, so we got a better deal because they're going to be already there. So once they get the timber, we're going to go in. Our original contract with them was we would provide them a clear, level graded 20 acres. So they're operating on our old site right now, and then we move to the new site. And the reason why we're moving to the new site is we want to actually continue expanding our landfill, and since we're switching vendors, now's the perfect time instead of them coming in and setting up shop, and then in 10 years we telling, hey, we need to move over here, or just go ahead. It is delaying kind of the start of the project a little bit, but I think in the long run it'd be a better system.
I think for us, the next step really is to meet with them once they do move and get established. And when we want to start receiving food waste, how are we going to receive that? We can set up anything at our collection sites, and I don't know, a lockable roll cart where residents have to jump through some hoops to get access to that, put any material and contamination. And then, as far as outreach goes, how they want us to message what they're receiving. And then if a town decides, hey, I'm going to buy a truck and containers and I'm going to start picking up food waste, what is their capacity to receive material like that? So just several questions that are still not answered yet, but
have they said, I guess, because they are originally from Florida, how they manage that in other locations? Or just like those
I haven't had that meeting yet. I don't know if you have. So that's just something that's the next step is to have, all right, let's get real and how we're gonna to manage, everything. So and then, contamination, smell, all those things need to be answered. So
and it sounds like for them, when they do set up shop, that they may have more of a focus on collecting food waste from more of those large producers. That will be kind of more of their bread and butter, I guess.
That's the easiest thing, those large things. With residential, you're looking at, you've got higher contamination, your packaging, you got to deal with that industrial stuff.
Guaranteed feedstock, really, it makes it a richer compost for those greener lush tops.
And they've actually, negotiated a tipping fee on our behalf with the vendor that is a fairly nice tipping fee. So it'll actually help support a good bit of the composting program, just not the food waste portion of it. But we pay per ton for everything that comes across our scale to them to kind of help.
Okay, so that's
pay
great.
for it.
So a resident, you said they will be free. A business coming directly to them would be $29 per ton. And then the county, if you all were to, I guess, collect food waste at, let's say those like log containers, then y'all would have to pay for it to be beyond that material that would be. Okay. And how much was that?
I haven't looked at it since we started the contract. I think it's around 45 a ton. It's a little bit higher than the green waste. I think it's 40 to 45 a ton, for the food waste. And then negotiated price, a tipping fee, a little, just slightly higher than that with this sausage case. So, okay. Yes, yeah, they've been really good about reaching out to folks in the area so that they can get more material.
Yeah, that was another question since we do have Adrian in the room. Is kind of getting the feedstock more the responsibility of you all, or is it gonna be more the company or kind of a mix?
Right now, it's their responsibility. We hope to eventually get into doing some stuff with the residents.
Can compliment them.
Yeah, but
And then,
we would never be able to generate enough to satisfy their need because they've got big dreams and I think they can achieve them. They're a real big group, but we can never hit the numbers that they're looking at doing.
And you said you are accepting outside of Lexington County?
Yeah, so we have an ordinance that says that our city landfill does not accept out of county waste, but coming into the compost facility is going to be material that's processed and I mean it's going to leave the site. So I think that's something we can accept out of county material.
Okay. Keep it in mind, this week working with manufacturers, businesses around South Carolina. The food manufacturers have got a lot of byproduct that they need a place for, so we'll keep it in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that, so Larry, with USC is interested in trying to help kind of serve as a spoke, with collecting material. And so like, you know, with Mary, I know Richard has spoken with her in the past about, trying to get it to where, maybe getting the, prisons to get on board with, you know, capturing that waste or that food waste as well. So, you know, that would be a good, and some of it's too, like trying to find a consistent source, which sounds like there's
Prisons aren't going away.
So yeah, trying to make it to where organics management can partner with her, because I guess that was something maybe that you just kind of clarified for me was who's the responsible party in terms of, you know, lining up those partnerships and saying like, yeah, we're going to partner together, whether it's Lexington County or more organics management. And it sounds like it would be organics management.
yeah, I think we're more of a support.
What a question, how many of you guys are talking to my brain's not a little hard to understand. Because you're saying that you don't get any revenue from the tipping fees, but you're donating the land or letting them lease it. I'm assuming there's no fee.
Yeah, they're just kind of leasing, yeah.
And they're getting double the revenue when they sell it. What is the benefit to the county other than just to say you're doing it?
Here, my benefits.
So we're basically we're diverting stuff, material from landfill. That's our goal. Landfill line. So, yeah, but we're all,
To food waste, it's easier to process food waste and kind of opposite.
Sure. But I would assume that, and again, I'm just down here trying to make sense of how I would have even presented this to council. But I mean, other than to say you're doing it, but is there any goal in, like, at the end to be able to say that you're then going to get something back? Like, are you eventually going to be able to, because you're saying you would have to charge residency.
no, we're not. So the charge,
At some point.
the charge that she was talking about to the residents is what, organics management is selling their material for.
Okay.
That was the,
Yes, yeah, the mulch is $30 per yard, but we're gonna.
Yeah.
So.
So- yeah, so the residents are getting charged the impact.
Okay. I misspoke on the tonnage, and that was for businesses.
So, but you don't get any of that revenue for the tipping fees.
No.
We get some free mulch.
Yeah.
They're getting free land.
Got plenty of available cameras and good.
And then they're charging it. I'm just having a hard time understanding. I mean, like, of course, it's a good deal for them, but I mean, other than, like you said, diversion, I get that. But if there's some end goal of you getting something back, I mean, on the sale, I would.
Well, you know, like the one company, the sausage cases, they negotiated the tipping fee. The fee that they negotiated is higher than what we're gonna be paying them. So we are gonna get some revenue off of that.
Okay, so there is some, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when we started this in the beginning and when we started before me, it was, diversion was really the only goal. So we've kind of continued with that.
Yeah.
But they are building like all of the infrastructure, the land is there, but they are putting the bills for everything.
Right.
All the concrete, like, and then when they leave, you know, if they leave, the site still, you know, it reverts back to us. So all of the infrastructure there, we're kind of paying for it with the tipping fee, basically.
Yeah.
So,
They employ the people that are. Compost, so that's.
and the marketing, you know, they're marketing, like, when we were doing it, marketing was the hard part, when we were composting, but right now they have, I'm saying, if that turning the week, clean it out, the compost on it. The bugs see something all.
Just to get, I mean, that's what I think.
Something to keep us on.
Support. I mean, that's wrong. And again, I was just trying to make sense of how, for us, like you were saying before, like if that was something that we would consider. If we had to give somebody, they were doing the operations and hand it all over to them and then still pay. For it, that would be
Nice to see what they have arranged with other facilities,
Yeah,
Florida or wherever.
right.
So, yeah, it's future.
Good, you'll get all of the hard work.
But right now, they are putting the bill like for all of the infrastructure that's gonna have to be put out there, they're paying for that, well, I guess we're paying for that.
Yeah.
Well, they left me on our site, obviously. Jeeps that have.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I think that's what it's like, y'all have it. Benefits are coming up right later. That's all I'm saying.
But they were cheaper than some of the other folks.
Have you already changed your permit to a type 2?
We're type 3. Oh.
Oh, you already are a type 3? Okay.
We're legit.
Yeah.
Like last report, y'all were still listed, it was still listed as type 1.
Oh, well, we've been a type 3 for 2 or 3 years.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank y'all for sharing a little bit of the behind the scenes. I think that gives us a little bit clearer picture of what was going on. And then, you know, it sounds like we'll need to maybe reach out to Chris and Chris and Dallas and see, you know, logistically what we would need to factor in terms of bringing other communities or cities. But I think that's
The next.
Yes.
Extra material.
yeah. But I'm excited for you guys that things are moving forward. What do you
Yeah, I just had one more thing on the waste tire front. For you who are familiar with paving or have any influence on paving within the county, you know, get them to promote use of rubber modified asphalt. Because obviously if we create more markets for the tires, then, you know, we can try to help control some of these rising costs, processing costs for tires. And a great way to do that is through rubber modified asphalt. There's been a lot of change with this dry mix process of paving. And so there's a lot of advantages using the rubber modified asphalt now. So if you get the opportunity to talk with your paving folks, ask them, are we using more rubber modified asphalt now than we have in the past? And if not, why not? There's also that DOT modernization bill that's at the legislature right now. Have you heard about it? But they're proposing to turn over, it's a voluntary program, but they're proposing to turn over a lot of the paving that the state has done traditionally to the counties, to allow the counties to do their own paving. And it would come with money and it would help get the roads paved a little bit faster. So it's an excellent opportunity now to push rubber modified asphalt.
Do you have, that sheet or anything on that you could send out that, I mean,
Are you talking about like DOT specs for the asphalt
or
or?
just information about that mows it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of maybe with them.
Yeah, there was, what's that?
Vendors, if you have some to suggest.
For paving, contractor for paving?
For the product itself, well, we've got public works and the paving, but for the product itself. just-
Okay, let me ask you this, the rubberized asphalt still expensive like it used to be?
It's much cheaper now than it used to be.
Okay.
Part of your expense was the equipment, you know,
Yeah. I know
because it
that's
took
why the
specially
county
equipment.
It's so expensive, they were like,
Yeah, with this dry mix process, it kind of eliminates that terminal we blended, transported, where you had to keep it heated, you had to
Yep.
keep it mixed, you know, all that's gone away with this dry mix process. And so, anyway, if you
So
get
yeah,
the opportunity,
send out
oh, they keep it cold.
all right,
some detail.
okay.
Yeah.
The, Tire Recycling Foundation just did a whole set of webinars on rubber modified asphalt. And so, yeah, I can send you the link, I can send you the actual, I guess, presentation.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm going to a conference in Denver in May. But that's the big thing now is trying to get the counties to use more rubber modified asphalt. So if you get that opportunity, put it out there.
Well, thank you for the last tidbit of information, Woody, and it sounds like, yeah, we'll make something and send it out to the counties for them to have some info about the specs for the vendors. Well, I want us to be able to continue having some good conversations, but maybe a little bit lighter, and not always focused on tires or recycling. So I have, us having a little bit of time on our own nickel going to Cracker Barrel. That's not too far away from here. I think it's on LeGrand Drive, or LeGrand Road. And then after that, at 2, we're gonna meet back up if you all are available and go to the Richland County landfill, which it has the address on here. It's on Cogman Road. And we're gonna have a tour demonstration for it. But I really appreciate you all taking the time to share so much about your programs. I hope that was beneficial, getting to see, you know, some of the ins and outs of what others are having to face. And we really appreciate your time, all your hard work and dedication to, I know it's skills that is not be frustrating either. Put some more adventures in it than you expect, whether it be good cats or
Wait, was Catherine calling in? What nothing's already.
We don't know. We just, so
I think it was undetectable or like. It was.
I don't think anybody's gonna dump that in there, but they could.
Yeah.
Somebody could dump it in there, or they could have gotten in there on their own. Yeah, I mean, it smells like French fries.
If you do, you know, there, you can just say that you're there for a larger party with the last name Martin. They didn't reach, they couldn't reserve tables, but it's that side. So, but yeah, we'll see everybody hopefully at 2, if you aren't able to join us for lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I talked to what's his name, the CRA, and he told me it's excellent.
Tony or Chris?
Sorry.
Okay. Well, Chris has been out of the loop. Yeah.